All right, so we got another Predator film from the Hulu era. First we got Prey, now we got Predator, Killer of Killers. And man, this was awesome. Just like Prey, I am a big fan of what the Hulu era, alongside of Dan Trachtenberg, is doing with the Predator franchise. And I can't wait to see what they do with Predator Badlands. So this is an animated anthology film, which I was not expecting when this was first announced. I know Trachtenberg had talked about he had kind of a secret Predator project that he was working on that was going to release before Badlands. And I do think that this is a more important film to the overall franchise than, you might suspect going into it. I think a lot of people don't take animation seriously, but if you were to look at Star Wars for a frame of reference, modern Star Wars, there is a lot of animation storytelling that crosses over into the live action stuff all the time nowadays, right? And I do think that that is probably going to be the case here. Like, if you want to dismiss this because you think, like, oh, it's just an animated film, it's not going to have anything to do with the bigger picture of the Predator franchise, I'd say think again. So we'll get there, but I was really into this. This is, once again, as I said, an animated anthology. I think the animation style here is fantastic. I'm a big fan of the show Arcane, which is one of the great animated shows. And, if you're somebody who isn't a big animation fan, I wasn't either when it came to adult themed stories. I always thought that animation was better suited for children's stories or family friendly type of films like Pixar movies and whatnot. And I loved those, but I just always had a hard time connecting with adult themes done in animation. I needed like a human face to connect to. But something has changed in recent years where I don't have that problem at all anymore, but I used to. So if for some reason you are somebody who's never really been able to connect to like R-rated, adult themed animation, you might want to try giving this a shot regardless. This is currently only on Hulu. At least I think this movie would only be on Hulu, right? This has got to be an exclusive. They don't put these up for rent. But I know a lot of people were skeptical of the Disney era when they bought the rights to 20th Century Fox, and they got Hulu and all of that, and they took over the Predator franchise and the Alien franchise, and it was like, oh boy, they're gonna really Disney it up. Well, there is no Disneyness to this one when it comes to the level of violence and gore and just awesomeness. The three stories that we get in here, yes, there's three stories. They take place in different eras, and the Predators are hunting the most elite of the fighters of the era in which they're going in, because that's what they do. I'm not some big Predator expert, okay? I've seen all the movies, right? Whether it's the Alien crossover movies or it's just the standalone Predator films. I grew up on the Arnold one, of course, like most people. I fucking love it. I don't know where it would be in my tops of all time, but it'd be high. I adore the film. I've seen it in so many times. And as far as the rest of the franchise goes, I like every movie, like, to varying degrees. And there's problems with some of them, for sure, but I still have enjoyed every Predator film to date. And I think that Killer of Killers is, higher on the list of Predator films. I think this is a very, very cool film. We had always been talking about how after they made the Amber Mid-Thunder Prey movie, where he, goes back in time, which, in the other films, they're more modern day. And it was like when they went back in time with Prey, then it's really started getting my mind working on like, oh, what would be the coolest eras for, for a predator to go and wreak havoc? Like what um, what era is set really, set up very well for that. And I had a lot of options, but I think like feudal Japan was, I think, one of the more agreed upon eras of human history where it's like, oh, that would be badass, right? For a predator to go in there and take on the warriors of that era. That's a cool movie. And I of course really love the idea of like taking away modern weaponry and technology, much like in Prey, and it's just like swords and just brawn and intelligence. And that, I mean, honestly, I could watch a Predator film set during pretty much any era of time. I'd love to see it in medieval times where it's like predators versus knights. And there's, God, I mean, I could just sit here and think of so many great cavemen would be really cool. What would be your guys' favorites? What would you want to see? I mean, there's so many eras of human history where we have these crazy soldiers. So the first one of the stories here is the Vikings, which perfect. Vikings, fantastic. The next one is Japan, and I think at the start of it, it's like the end of like the feudal era. But regardless, it is still ish around that time. It was a long period of time for them, but regardless, it's totally what you want to see. And then the last story takes place during World War II. So really cool time periods, and the fact that they're all period pieces, that they're all parts of human history, and they're all like from around the world is awesome. That I love, right? So really, really cool stuff there, and I love that just in its premise. And there's this really cool payoff to it because as you are watching the movie, you realize that they're setting up that all of these stories are like gonna converge. And I really liked how all of that was handled. And then, oh boy, there's a mid-credit sequence where I was like, oh shit, what's this? And I'm not gonna say what it is, but I was very pleased and was like, oh, this is a big deal. Like, wow, okay, so we are going to expand this franchise, and this movie isn't just some animated throwaway film. Like, this really does play into the bigger universe. And because that we see some Wayland tech in the Alien Earth trailer, I have no doubt we are absolutely world building towards an Alien versus Predator. And in fact, I won't be surprised after having watched that Alien Earth trailer, which was fucking fantastic, by the way. I mean, it looks like a feature film. It's incredible these days. There just is no difference. I can't spot the difference between a television show and a movie these days when trailers play. It's incredible how high quality these TV shows are. Unfortunately, it takes forever to make them now, and we're waiting 2-3 years for each season because they're putting so much extra effort to make it look as cinematic as possible. But anyway, in that trailer, they talk about how they went around to like every corner of the galaxy and they rounded up, I think it was like the 5 deadliest creatures from around like the galaxy. 5, I think. We know one of them's a xenomorph, and then there's 4 left if I'm accurate on 5. Is one of them a predator or I forget what they're called. Their species has an actual name, but as I said, I'm not Yanja. Fuck, I forget. I've seen it. I've heard it like once or twice, and it starts with a Y. But I've never read a Predator comic. I've never read a Predator book. I've never played a Predator video game or any of that stuff. So I am not an expert by any means on this franchise. But I know what I saw and I know what I like. And I sure shit like the hell out of this. This is brutal, man. Which one of these is my favorite? I'm going to act like you asked me that. Probably the first one. Probably the Shield. I really, really enjoyed the Viking one. I thought that was brutal and vicious, and it reminded me of the Northmen, and I really liked our main character. I really liked the showdown between them and the Predator, and how it all concludes. I thought that was really cool. I really liked all of them, though. I really liked all of them. My least favorite would probably be it'd be in order. It'd be the first is my favorite, the second is my second favorite, and the third is my least favorite, or my third favorite because I liked it. It's positive. I don't want to sound like it's negative. And then you have the wrap around, or like the wrap up, which then again, as I said at the end, make sure you're watching the mid credit sequence, because it was like, holy shit. And you're sitting there when it's happening, you're like, ooh, I know what's happening. I know what's happening. I'm not going to say because I don't want to spoil it, but you're like, you're questioning, and you're going through your options. You're like, could it be this? Could it be that? And then it was not anything I thought it was going to be. I only had like 5-10 seconds to think about it, and I started saying things, and I was wrong, but I wasn't unhappy with what I got, and I was like, oh wow, okay, so this movie could 100% play into Predator Badlands. Now with everything they set up in here, not only do we get references and stuff from other Predator movies in here, I won't say which and what it is, but I will say we do get some very obvious past Predator stuff acknowledged in this and shown in this, and I was like, oh, that's from this movie. Oh, cool, that's from here. That has a bigger, larger implication. So is someone at my door? Sorry, I thought I heard knocking. Anyway, yeah. So I think that this is gonna be have more connective tissue to the other films than people would expect, and man, I really, really enjoyed this. I thought this was so well done. Love the animation, as I said, love the stories, love how they come together, love the ending, love the post-credits thing, or the mid-credits thing. I didn't wait all the way through it, though. I should probably check to make sure there's not a post-credit sequence. But yeah, if for some reason you're skipping this one, definitely check it out. And what do you guys think? You think that we are going to see a Predator in the Alien Earth show? Will we see a xenomorph in Predator Badlands, or are we setting up a show for a crossover? Because, the two Alien versus Predator movies we have currently are not great. We did hear, okay, so someone did knock at the door. They like lightly tapped and then ran away, I guess. Anyway, you don't care about that. So, yeah, Predator, Killer of Killers. Definitely check it out. Definitely get on this. If you're a Predator fan, don't skip it. Don't look at it as like a kid thing, or like, nah, that's not for me, man. There is some violent ass kills in this. There's decapitations, people being ripped in half. Like, it's very R-rated, and the animation style is super cool. If you haven't seen stuff like Arcane, definitely get on that too. That's one of the great animated shows you'll ever watch. So I definitely couldn't recommend this higher if you're a massive Predator fan. But if you're a massive Predator fan, you fucking, you watched it already. I guess I'll talk spoilers really quick just so that I can, talk about this. So if you haven't seen it, you can move on. But yeah, I mean, obviously we get to see the gun from Predator 2, which is now made its way into the franchise multiple times. We saw it in another one of the movies. We saw it in Prey, right? Yeah, that's where it popped back up, is in Prey. It's been a little while since I've watched all of the Predator films, but pretty sure that's where it pops back up. But correct me if I'm wrong. But regardless, I know we've seen this gun, and yeah, and then the ending with Naru, right? Is that her name? Amber Midthunder's character from Prey. She's frozen, and she's going to be one of the warriors, and they freeze people, right? They thaw them out whenever they want, like, to put them in battle with other ones, and of course this race is all about, like, who's the dominant species, and it's glorious to be the victor and the strongest of them, and I think that there's some really good mirroring of the Viking era and the Predators. Like, they want to die in battle if they're gonna die. So I thought that's probably why the Viking one is the one that resonated the most with me. But if we do have the Amber Midthunder character coming, because when that started to pan over and we saw almost like the archives in Indiana Jones, the Raiders of the Lost Ark thing, you get like kind of the pan over and you see all these different creatures, and I was like, okay, are we going to see a xenomorph? And then I was like, oh, I bet you we're going to see Dutch. Like, that would be crazy. If we saw Dutch, that would have been wild. Because, yeah, this really makes you wonder, like, did they grab Dutch? I mean, that you would think they would, right? Like, if we're going off of this lore now, once you kill a predator, you're marked to be taken. You now are going to be one of the combatants, that fights in this ceremonial killer of killers. So would we see Dutch? Would we see Danny Glover's character? Would we see any of the other survivors, the one who killed the predator? Could we see a crossover of all of that? And animation is a perfect place to do this, because Arnold's too old now and Danny Glover's too old now, and you're going to want them when they're more in their prime. I would love to see Predator Killer of Killers 2, because they 1,000% leave it off for a sequel, which, who knows, the Amber Midthunder stuff, that might just be only for animation from here on, right? We might only see her in part 2 of the animated films. And I think with how well this is being received, we should absolutely get one. So bringing in all of the characters, like, I really feel like after seeing this, I feel like we're going to see Dutch. I just do. I feel like I don't see why we wouldn't. I think that would be super badass. I think that would be super badass to get him. You could even get Arnold to voice him. In fact, yeah, that's the perfect thing to do. You get Arnold to voice him. Yeah, now I'm getting excited. Now I'm getting really excited. You get Danny Glover to voice his character, Arnold to voice his character. You get all the original actors back to voice their animated characters. Ooh, that'd be fucking awesome. Wow. I didn't even think of that for some reason, but yeah, them voicing. Ooh, I really like that. Okay. Yeah, this could really shape up to be something badass. So, you could even do I don't know if you need to throw in aliens, like xenomorphs, in here at this point, but regardless, yeah. So, do you think we could see Amber Midthunder's character in Badlands? Because from what I can tell, Badlands takes place on, like, their planet or some hostile planet that they've put that predator on. But if we are going to go by this film and there's this kind of showdown for the predators, could we see another ceremony or another fight like that? But and then, like, Amber Midthunder's brought out with, some other survivors, maybe one of the guys from the Predator or something. That would be pretty damn cool. So I don't know. Do you think they're gonna save the Naru? Right, that's her name. I feel like that's her name. It's been what? How long has it been since Prey came out? 2022. Is that 3 years ago? Whatever it is. Do you think we'll see her in the animated movie sequel, or do you think it's possible we see her again in live action? So, anyway, leave me your comments below about what you'd want to see. What era, like I had said earlier, would you like to see? I had one and the Old West. The Old West. That was the one I was trying to think of. I would love to see gunslingers versus a predator. That would be badass. I would love to see that. An old western. We don't do enough western horror. Like, I'm not a massive western fan, but I do like it, and I think westerns horror, like western horror, is a very cool combination, and there's so few of them. There's so few of them. I can't even think of many off the top of my head. I don't know why we don't do them, but we should do more of them because I think it's a cool like mashup. So genre blend. Anyway, yeah. What would you like to see? What era would you like to see? What kind of people would you like to see fight against them, or none at all? This is why I'm excited for Badlands. It's taking place on their planet. It's going to be this the Predator is going to be the main protagonist, and we're going to have Elle Fanning, who's playing like a Wayland android, which is super cool, and that of course sets up the Alien versus Predator thing for sure. So will we see some crossover in Alien Earth? Will we see, Amber Mid Thunder in live action again? Like, what do you guys think? Let me know. I'll see you in the comments. Adios.